Hello everybody, I'll come back for our third part of the presentation of the analog signature analyzer. On this last part we talked the necessary adjustments or setup of hardware and software to run the instrument. We start the program, and the first you want to go hardware, and you have it here. In this half part of this window, you have information about the devices itself. The devices are enumerated from 0 to Windows to whatever you have. In my case, you have it from 0 to 3. This is output. In my case, I want to select Realtek as the output device, and for input, that will be number 1. If for input, look to these numbers and you'll see Realtek as input device is 0. On this point, this information here are not very reliable. The capabilities of the soundboard you're using is more reliable if you use the control panel. I hope to fix that in the future, but for the moment is what we got. Let's see here. The output device is number 1. I set it here device as output 1 and turn on, and that is generate to the maximum volume of the board output. Let's go to the circuit. You have here both channels with maximum voltage being produced, and you want to adjust this amplifier to give on the output 10 volts peak or 20 volts peak to peak. You should use an oscilloscope to do that, to check the distortion of the signal. That's not tolerable in our case. By adjusting this 100-turn trim pot in here, you should be able to get the necessary voltage on the output. At this point, I cannot emphasize more than that. It's very important. Do not connect an input in here until you adjust the outputs. Adjust that for 0.1, 0.2 volts peak, both channels in here, reading with the oscilloscope on the output. Then you're ready to go for the setup of running. Go in here, and wow, that's how it looks when you're done the proper adjustments. Let me disconnect this moment. The inputs now are disconnected. You set the output device for the one you have, in my case 1. This is 0 for output. The initial value for the read buffer is 30,000. And if you change it, you need to refresh those IDs. Let me connect the one input in here, and the other one is not connected. And now the second one. This is the whole signal grabbed by the soundboard. This is the size of the buffer. As you see, there is a long period here that nothing's done. How much you have depends on the speed of your computer. In my case, that seems a lot. It cannot be shorter than that. Otherwise, the computer software is going into error. But it doesn't need to be that long. And it has some variation here. This is not fixed, depends on the workload of your CPU. But let's reduce this value in here, 15,000, and refresh. And now you see the time is much shorter, but still time enough for not incurring any error. And there are 2 inputs in here, one on top of the other. That's why you cannot see it. If I disconnect one, then you can see clearly that there is 2 inputs. If you don't have a trigger channel in here, if you cannot trigger the signal, First thing, you short circuit the output. Just a moment. The output is short circuit. You should have a trigger in the channel. If you don't have a trigger, change it. You're out of trigger. You don't get any signal in here. And then you move here, you have a trigger. You have to adjust the left channel and the right channel to get as close as possible to the value 1 that's normalized by the soundboard. Let's see here. You make these adjustments to get in here and in here to get both signals going near as close as possible to 1. And when you do that, you should have oh boy. We should have something like that. You adjust the first channel to go close to 1, and the second one, if you change it even a bit, you can set the inclination of the curve. You should change it to close to a level, and now it's perfect, the adjustment in here. Because the curves are normalized and sometimes you cannot get very close to the one that is desirable in here, you don't have the full excursion of the signal, you can adjust X gain to extend the line all the way, and when you have a short circuit, when you have a short circuit, you should adjust Y gain to go all the way up. Sometimes some soundboards are not very symmetrical, as the case, but it's not completely important. But then you have finished the calibration of the instrument and you can save it. You can use that as an instrument as well in here and grab a curve for test and comparing, but there are other problems. There are other points of the problem that you can do it better. Close, and you should have your instrument fully calibrated now. Thank you for watching and have a good day.